There is nowhere like Dubai when it comes to the world's greatest car showrooms, filled from top to bottom with the rarest cars in existence. We're on a quest to see if we can find over 100 hypercars for sale, having already been tipped off on the whereabouts of some unicorns like the Lamborghini Veneno, a lineup of AMG ONEs, the very rare Bugatti Divo, and even a brand new Koenigsegg Jesko. The hard bit is going to be the tough choice to pick out a favourite along the way.
Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going supercar shopping right here in Dubai. We're going to have to keep a tally today of the number of hypercars we're about to see. It's going to be unreal. Now, Dubai runs along Sheikh Zayed Road, the marina down to Abu Dhabi that way, Dubai downtown, Burj Khalifa up there. But all the way along, you have supercar showrooms. Mansory is right opposite. We're currently outside Pupil of Fate Motors. And I mention this because we have picked up this beast to get around. The Desert Sand G63 with the full adventure pack, back in a G, the perfect car to drive here in the UAE. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about this as we go, but today we're going to head to all of these showrooms. Because of how Dubai sits, it attracts some of the most incredible cars from around the world, and I've been shooting these videos for about a decade and a half now, coming out here, visiting the showrooms. So let's get straight to it and go see what we can find. It is good to be back in one of these, a G-Wagon. I had one for 3 years when the new shape came out. Oh, Spectre going past. So that was about 6 years ago. That is a very loud GT3 RS. My days. I was going to be talking about this, the G63. I miss mine a lot. Today I've chosen to take this out. Desert Sand out here in the desert. The refreshed car though, the facelift. So you've still got the 4-litre twin-turbo V8, making 585 horsepower, plus 20 with the 48-volt system. Obviously this is fully equipped for off-road, spare wheel on the back, the wide arches. You've got the lights that sit out on the corners, the AMG front grille, but also, I mean, that thing is... Okay, I'm a little bit deaf now. But inside, one thing I like, keyless on the door handles, pop this open inside, colour scheme matches with the exterior. We've got the new displays and screens, we've got the new control pad, a few updates to this all around. But that was mad, and we should probably get on the move. Well, maybe we can track that down later on. For now, let's step in here and get this journey underway. Go and see the hypercars of the showrooms of Dubai. When you think of Dubai, you think of go big or go home, very bold. We're here at Mansory, the showroom that opened about 4 years ago. Come for a tour around, there are some new cars behind. This is the Carbonado Evo. I drove this very car in Germany and I will never forget that experience. Wild twin turbo V12. We've got everything from scooters to golf carts, but come on through, because Mansory are known and very famous for all of their work with materials, with carbon fiber. We're taking things to the extreme. So come past the Ghost, because back here is the Venetus version of the Urus, except this is no longer a 4-door, it's a 2-door coupe. There are only 8 of them. Not only that, the weave and the effect that they've done with the carbon fiber bodywork, second to none. We've then got the Tempesta, the 296. This is a GTS, the convertible, but full Mansory body kit, all of the exhaust upgrades, the powertrain changes, these winglets at the rear inspired by the Ferrari race cars. This is mad. This is the Pagusa MCX, based on the Maserati MC20. But look at that wing, reminiscent of the Aventador SVJ. You've got the snorkel with the piece up top like a Formula 1 car. Come through a little bit further. We've walked past all of the G-Wagons, plenty more Rolls Royces. We've got the F9 XX over here. This is based on the Ferrari SF90. Again, dialing up the ante, this boomerang akin to the 812 Competizione across the front of it. More Rolls Royces before this very unusual creation. This is the G-Class convertible by Alec Monopoly, only 10 of them. And come and take a closer look, because this is literally painted onto the G-Wagon. Not only that, we have permission to take a look inside. Look at this, the detailing, the interior colorways that have been done here, and all of the painted elements on the grab handle, on the door inserts, you name it, absolutely everywhere. So like I said, go big or go home to get started. In a country of many a G-Class, this is how you do something that stands out even more. Mansory with all of the different paint colours, the materials, you name it. I mean, look at the wheels worn by this one. In fact, there's even an engine hanging up on the roof here, but this is where the fun begins with all of the different specs, everything that you can think of to create something completely unique that stands out over here in the UAE. To give you an idea of just how many crazy cars there are around here, Autoland Motors. I'm not going to go fully in because we're focusing on hypercars, but we have an SF90 XX Spider, there are two 812 Competiciones, Ultime, a couple of crazy creations, Revuelto, and so many other supercars around. And an AMG GT Black Series driving by. Welcome to Exotic Cars. Now this is a new showroom since my last visit. It opened about 2 years ago. It's enormous and stuffed to the rafters with all of the supercars you can think of. But interestingly also with a few modern classics. We have the likes of a 575 Super America, an F512M. Also there's a brand new SF90 XX in the red with the blue accents. But we're seeing rows upon rows of Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Rolls Royces, you name it, and our first hypercar of the day in the form of the Mercedes AMG One, the Project One, one of 275 and maybe the first of a couple that we're going to be seeing today. But this brought the championship-winning Formula One engine from Mercedes-AMG into a road car. And with the popularity of Merc over here to begin with, all of the G-Wagons, the Brabus cars, the Maybachs, you name it, it comes as no surprise that quite a few of these will have been originally delivered to the region and we start to see them changing hands a little bit. This has the AMG Motorsports painted livery. It's also sat right beside the e-bike, one of which I actually have over at home as well, so that's quite fun to see. But this is in its track mode, the flares lifted up over the front wheel arches, the wing in its extended position. It looks unreal. But come further through, past the likes of a Spectre and a Revuelto, because next up continues, not a hyper, but the modern classic Ferrari theme, a Scuderia Spider 16M, the car that celebrated 16 Formula One World Championship titles for Ferrari, one of 499. And it's interesting to me to start seeing more and more of these collectible cars in the showrooms versus a couple of years ago. Up over there is a stunning Viola Ophelia Lamborghini Murcielago, which stands out as well. But I want to keep coming past all of the Lambos and Ferraris because one of the most spectacular cars we might even see today, full stop, is right here in the corner. The Bugatti Divo, one of only 40 cars in total that Bugatti made, based on the Chiron platform, but with so many bespoke details. So it shares the 8-litre quad-turbo W16. I actually drove my first ever Divo out here in Dubai, getting to experience what this is all about. And I mean, we're talking a car that's somewhere in the region of $10 million, set right here. One of the absolute highlights we're going to see today. So two hypercars down at Exotic Cars. The light might have started to go down, but this is just the beginning, because shopping by night is how it's done, and just ahead of us is going to be where all of this started. Cast your mind back 15 years to when I came out here to the Middle East for my first visit, and I went to explore this off-the-radar, little-known supercar showroom called Ain Class Motors. That was over at the old Auto Mart, and it was before this world of these dealerships had really been discovered. They were the original, and then they moved here to beside Sheikh Zayed Road and started a new trend. But even until today, they still have one of the most insane displays of cars, and we're going to go on in and take a look around this extraordinary, jaw-dropping lineup. We're talking a pair of few-off series hypercars from Lamborghini, an Aston Martin Valkyrie Spider. There's a trio of McLaren P1 GTRs, double Bugatti Veyrons, all sorts of bespoke, unique cars. They're also the Koenigsegg dealer, so I think there are 3 or more Koenigsegg's in here as well. You name it, it's here to explore. So let's start right here, the Lamborghini Sian. There are 63 coupes, also 19 roadsters. 1963, the year that Lamborghini had been founded. It was their first hybrid with a super capacitor based on the Aventador platform, this one in exposed carbon with the green accents. That then spawned the next few-off series car right here, the Countach LPI 800. Again, 800 horsepower from that super capacitor platform. 112 cars linking to the original Countach, which had the code name LP112. We've got the Aston Martin Valkyrie Spider, one of 85 Spiders that followed the 150 coupes, the ultimate in engineering, Cosworth V12. There's no other experience like it. 3 P1 GTRs, not one, not two, but 3 of them. There are only 50 odd in the entire world, taking McLaren's hybrid hypercar, the first of the Ultimate Series cars, and making it at home on the racetrack. And I think these are all on road tyres, which means they've been to Lanzante and they've had the road conversions. We've then got the Mansory Veyron. Mansory do some crazy things, as we've seen. This is the Vivere. I saw this car when it was originally built. It's got a very unusual carbon weave, absolutely crazy. Next to it, the Oakley design Veyron. I actually filmed this car right when it had just been built in the UK, what, 13 years ago or so? Bright, glittery yellow paintwork, yellow tinted carbon fibre, just absurd. Only in a place like this do you walk basically straight past a Porsche 918 Spider, one of the 918, to come and take a look at this, the Pagani Huayra Roadster BC, one of 40 cars of the removable roof version. It's not a BC Roadster because it's a different car. It's a Roadster BC. Right in front, another AMG One. I said we'd see a few of these today. They're freshly delivered and just awesome cars. We've then got a couple of Koenigsegg's. This Jesko Absolut is in candy apple red. There are 125 Jeskos. This is the Absolute, so the absolute top spec in terms of high speed, low downforce without having the big boomerang wing, and the paint just looks amazing. Next to it, Koenigsegg Agera R, another car that I remember filming and chasing through the streets of London more than a decade ago. Full exposed carbon, awesome thing, carbon air core wheels. Ford GT, we know a fair bit about those on the channel, just over 1,300 of them in total in the world before we get to the McLaren Speedtail. This is quite an unusual colour for McLaren's 250 miles per hour, 3-seater configuration. Hypercar again. The car was really about making it as slippery as possible through the air, 106 of them in total to link back to the original McLaren F1. Next, wow, this just gets crazier. We have the 935, Porsche's motorsport offering for big VIP collectors, here in the full exposed carbon, and next to it, another that I've seen before, the Lamborghini Veneno Roadster. You cannot get more unicorn than this. 9 cars in total in the world that followed the 3 coupes, this one in the gloss black. Unbelievable, very few words. Come past a heavily modified 812, because this is one you don't see very often, to be honest. The Bentley Batteur. The Batteur and now the Batteur convertible, part of their Mulliner offerings. Super rare also, but come through, because on the topic of hypercars, there are still a couple more. Past the 296, past the Turbo S Cabriolet, Pista Spider, SLS Black Series or Vuelto. I didn't mention the McLaren Elva, one of 149 cars. Part right there, the 812 Competizione A, one of 599 of the Apertas. Pista Pilotti, they're unusual as well. But up here on the turntable, come and take a look at this, is the Koenigsegg Gemera. Being the main dealer, they've just had the presentation of this, now with its V8 engine, but your 4-seater ultimate way to get around with about 2,300 horsepower, something of that nature. This is utterly crazy. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 odd. I need to go and do a double check, but right now, very little I can really take in, because there are also 4 other cars, another Jesko, another Veyron, 2 more Elvas that I might have seen while we've been here. I figured that was 22 hypercars in total, so that brings our running total to 24 and counting, and this is just the start. We might see 100 hypercars in this single video. We've arrived at Q Motors, Alcalá Motors, always with a display at the front here. I mean, as you look towards the side, we've got Pagani, we've got a couple of Bugatti Chirons, but I actually want to come and start down towards this end, because this is the theme I'm talking about, seeing some slightly older cars, relatively speaking. To kick off the line at the very end, we've got the SLR McLaren, obviously in this case, one of the Roadsters, but these were very much, I'm going to say, hypercar of its day. It's not a hypercar necessarily in today's terms, but they competed with the Ferrari Enzo and competed with these, the Porsche Carrera GTs, which you just cannot fault. The V10 engine in this, Porsche's, well, supercar, hypercar, again, of its time. But to get to what we're really counting today, the run of hypercars, and the 6 in a row, we have yet another Porsche 918 Spider. This one has a Weissach package. You can tell that from the carbon parts around the exterior, but also the carbon around the A-pillar, the A-frame of the windscreen, the rear wing, the roof panels, and the flicks that it has at the back. Spoilt to yet another AMG One. I can't believe the availability of these, relatively speaking, because for me, this is one of the absolute pinnacle of today hypercars. Then we have a familiar Pagani Huayra BC, so the coupe. Originally there were 20 of these, they made a little bit more, but I've actually seen this car before, I think in Europe, on one of the Raduno rallies in the past, so it's nice to be reunited with that. I've also seen this one before, the Chiron Sport Les Legend du Ciel, which is a special one-off effectively of the Chiron, the Sport, that was 16 kilos lighter because it introduced carbon fiber wiper blades and lighter wheels, amongst other different features and details. Another Bugatti Chiron, this is a 110, which is interesting because that would be a 110 years Bugatti car, except it's not in the signature livery of the 110 years versions, so slightly curious. P1 Carbon Series is another very unique car. There are only, was it 5, 6, 7 of these that they made in total? I think most of them started their lives out here in the Middle East region, but full carbon body with the red detailing and accents that you see around. To quickly blast through, we've got Starato, Revuelto, Aventador, more Aventadors, more Aventadors. You're seeing that trend. I mean, these days, with the introduction of all of the hybrid cars, more and more people are wanting to go after the likes of SVs, SVJ Roadsters, wild and bonkers specifications like this particular SVJ Roadster. That is really out there. But talking about there, keep coming past another one and past this 812 Competizione, because on the end of the line, look at that 812 Competizione A, the Aperta. Look at that specification. Tell you what, wouldn't mind something like that. Keep coming through with me though, because to do this a little bit quicker, we've got a line of different Ferraris here. We've got a 70th anniversary F12, we've got an SLS Black Series in solar beam over a yellow interior. We've got 675 LT in a lovely spec right there. A pair of Puro Sangues, look at the colours on these. Viola Hong Kong, Verde Mansory, 2 really nice specifications here at Q Motors. So we've added 7 more hypercars. How often do you come across a showroom that has a Bugatti Bolide in the window? Can you believe that? And that's just one of an army of Bugattis here at Nova Luxury Cars. Come on in with me, another new showroom and the most amazing lineup. The 3 Bugattis on this side, 5 more that way, and some additional cars as well we need to talk about. So let's begin right here. The first car before we're going to get to the Bolide, a Chiron Supersport. Of course, 500 Bugatti Chirons in total. The Supersports come out of that production run with some links to the old EB110, but this car with the gloss black paint over the French racing blue of the interior. There is a regular Chiron sitting back behind it, and I tell you what, it's only in this company that a regular Chiron isn't the star of the show. We have another Chiron Supersport, this car in the purple with that very bright red interior, and it also has the optional Skyview roof panels where you could order these 2 glass panels to have a little bit more airiness inside the cabin in the fastest Bugatti that they've ever made, which was tested with this, the Chiron Supersport 300 plus, because Andy Wallace at Air Lessine drove one of these to 304.77 miles per hour, the fastest production car that you could possibly imagine. Like the Veyron WRE and the Vitesse WRC, it's got this dark piano black carbon fiber with the orange detailing to really separate it. Then just behind, we've got the Aventador SV Roadster, an Aventador Ultime Roadster, a Revuelto, 812 Competizione. It goes on, but before we continue too far, let's talk about this. The Bugatti Bolide. This is Bugatti's track ultimate W16 experience. It's not a road car, there are only 40 of them, and it features the ultimate expression of that W16 engine. Over 1,500 horsepower, but without all the weight that you have to have for a road car, 4-wheel drive, and I can tell you on track, it is brutally fast. I've been lucky to ride in 2 of them now, but I didn't think I'd be finding one here in a showroom. Opposite it, another, I'm going to say regular Chiron Sport. It's only here that that could possibly be the case. Next up, we've got this artist tribute piece to the Daytona SP3, which I actually really quite like. That car that sold at the RM Sotheby's auction during Monterey Car Week for a world record price. Pagani Utopia. I love these cars. V12, 3rd Pagani model after Zonda and Huayra. You can have it with a manual, and this color in the yellow with the tricolore stripes is just absolutely wonderful. There's a Chiron Pur Sport, one of 60 right here as well, the most dynamic version of the Bugatti Chiron. There's a 918, just a 918 in this company, regular model, but still looks fantastic, of Porsche's part of the Holy Trinity. Opposite over on this side is another Chiron. Can you believe it? The spec of this with the carbon at the front, the bright orange interior and the white for the rear section, before the Holy Trinity completes with two LaFerraris, a coupe one of 499 and an Aperta one of 208 of Ferrari's, well, part of the big five or the big six, right, including the F80. Then that's not even all of it, because there are a couple of GT3 RSs back there, some lovely specs, and two Ford GTs as well, obviously very close to my heart. But we've just added 12 more hypercars to this, 8 of which are Bugattis here at Nova Luxury Cars. Apparently, there are so many dealers to come and visit here in Dubai that we've had to roll this into the next day. Night fell, we took a rest, but unbelievably, so far, my running count is that we have seen 43 hypercars. The best is still yet to come. We need to pick a favourite. Will it be more than 100? And I tell you what, getting around in a G63 out here in the Middle East feels so at home, even though we're sticking to the tarmac, and of course we know how immensely capable a car like this actually is. But the fascinating thing for me is that nowhere else in the world do you see so many of the world's rarest and best cars all so easily accessible. It's almost like a motor show in its own right. Anyway, we still have more to get to. Today is going to be even busier, even crazier. So let's get cracking on and go see what we can find. Nowhere else in the entire world will you see as many hypercars under one roof as here at 1rst Motors. We are talking about the most incredible display. It begins right here with the Lamborghini Sian Roadster, one of the 19 that they made of that first hybridized few-off series car. We're going to come back to some of the cars in the middle and some that are undercover as well, because one of the things that 1rst Motors have built a bit of a reputation for in recent times are these. The LaFerrari. Not only do we have a coupe here, but a line of 3 of the 4 LaFerrari Apertas that they currently have in their inventory. In front of them right here is a Ferrari Enzo. This car is a time capsule with less than 200 kilometers on it from new, from its original delivery in Paris. In fact, to put that into perspective, that is less than a tank of fuel in 20 years. Tucked in over at the back is a black Ferrari F50. There were 4 original cars, a couple of others that were painted in the Nero afterwards. That car is absolutely incredible. And another Enzo in the bright yellow, the Giallo Modena also. We're coming back this way because the hypercar count has not stopped there. A Bugatti Chiron in full carbon fibre. We then have a Chiron Sport with the Skyview roof. The LaFerrari Aperta in Giallo Triplo Strato, a colour I think suits it down to a T. Carry on through to AMG ONEs. It is the car of the Middle East right now, but this car, unusually, in its own Nardo grey-like paint, unusual because most of them are in the motorsports livery, that factory link back to the F1 car. Opposite, a McLaren Speedtail, another of the 3-seat hybridized McLaren 250 mile/hour car. Here we have a Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport. We have permission right now to come behind the ropes, to come and join me through here, because we can't talk too much about these cars, but you can probably figure out what we've got right here. In fact, just to give you a little sneak peek, because we have actually seen this car before, blue carbon on a Bugatti Divo. Next to it, look at this. If you don't already know what we're looking at, full carbon fiber Lamborghini Veneno Roadster. Come back through though, because here is an Aston Martin Valkyrie Spider, another of the 85 of those that they made in total. A pair of 812 comps, the tailor-made Competizione A, one of 599, and the launch spec of the coupe, one of 999. Behind those, there's a Lexus LFA, I love those, one of 500, the black over red, and a Vanquish Zagato Coupe, one of 99 cars. But if you like Porsche 918 Spiders, here there isn't just 1, 2, 3, or even 4, there are 5 of them in a line here, each with different specifications, different options, some with the Weissach package, some without. And I think if you're shopping for a 918 Spider, Porsche's entry to the Holy Trinity, there's nowhere better to go and look at them all and see the different price points and which car suits the most. Opposite those, we have 3 McLaren P1s, different versions. The P1 GTR for the track right at the front, one of the 5 P1 Carbon series right here with the full exposed carbon fiber bodywork, and a Volcano Yellow launch specification P1 right behind. Come through though, because what I quite like here is not just the hypercars, but everything else. We've got 3 AMG GT Black Series, including one in Solar Beam. the same color as mine, which wasn't available to order in the UK. I had to respray to get that, which means a subtle difference. This car has a gloss black boot. That was the standard from factory. Also one in magma beam, the Motorsports AMG One Project One package as well, and a line of 4 R34 GTRs. We have the Midnight Purple, we have Millennium Jade, some cars with some special stories behind them, and I think that's part of a big industry that's been picking up and growing out here as well. Come on through though, because not only are there all of the Lamborghinis, Revueltos, SVJ, some of the SUVs, but we also have a pair of Ford GTs, including this Ipanema blue car, which I remember filming at its previous owner's garage when I went to visit out here in the region as well. Come over here, and just arrived is a Pagani Huayra Roadster, yet another hypercar in this unbelievable garage. In fact, I think we've seen inside here 27, and I also got to look in the storage where there is an F40 and another 918. 29 hypercars in one place at F1rst Motors. There's a GT2 RS Club Sport, there's a GT3 RS in Golf Blue, there's a line of 911 STs. Nowhere else in the world will you see a display like this in one supercar showroom. F1rst Motors, the first for these things. The question is, how long will it be until the first F80 touches down? And I suspect not all that long. While out here, we've come to visit the Elite Cars, who are also Zenvo UAE. Now, of course, with my Zenvo back at home, I wanted to come and see the guys. They actually had a big event here with the Auroras, and when those cars start coming through, obviously they'll have them on display as well. But inside, you've got a whole range of different supercars: Starato, SF90, Astons, AMGs, Lambos, other Ferraris, you name it. And tucked in back over here, we have 918 Spider. I tell you what, the liquid silver, the launch color scheme for the 918, so good. Just suits it really well. That was a very expensive paint option, but a very worthwhile paint option, especially when you see the light under it. I'm sure in the future we're going to be back and we're going to be seeing Zenvo Auroras right here. Our next quick stop here at Automobili Motors, where the Porsche 918 Spider seems to be the car of the day. I'm quickly losing track of quite how many of those we have seen alone, but also amongst a sea of Porsches is the KTM GTXR. And while these aren't hypercars, it has so much presence with the canopy that opens forwards to allow you to step on board. And this in the purple carbon fiber with the gold wheels. Big fan of what they've done with that. There are even showrooms you don't know, with a Mansory, Urus, Rolls-Royce, or Revuelto just hiding behind the glass waiting to be opened. We're at a familiar stop, VIP Motors. Over the years, I have filmed many videos here, but come on in because the hypercars are what we're here to see. Now, it's a compulsory thing that when you walk in, you must say hi to the mannequin security guard that greets you. Anyway, they've also just opened VIP Home Gallery. So we've been to take a look around at all of the home decor, accessories, furnishings, things to put on display. And if I had a base out here, I'd probably be spending quite a bit of time in that location. This is what we're going to talk about though, and we've had a lot of different incredible cars here over the years. In fact, the speed with which they move things around has changed even in the few minutes we've been here. But kicking us off is the Bugatti Chiron 110 ans Bugatti. 110 years of Bugatti. They made this special commemorative edition of the Chiron with the exposed satin blue carbon over the front, converting to the painted sections at the rear in exactly the same shade. Next comes another navy blue carbon fiber Bugatti Chiron, so a pair of them side by side in different blue themes. We've got a couple of hybrids over here, McLaren Speedtail in the dark navy blue with the silver trim details and accents, and a 1 of 499 LaFerrari in the traditional Rosso Corsa, the original launch specification, as so many of them were. Of course, the newer models have all sorts of different shades and colours, but many LaFerraris in the traditional Rosso Corsa. That's something I didn't really expect to see today. The Lamborghini Essenza SC V12. This was Lamborghini Squadra Corsa race division, basically taking the Aventador platform, throwing out the rulebook, and making a car of which they would only build 40 to be at home on the racetrack. It is wild, it sounds mad, and it looks everything as crazy as you'd ever expect a Lamborghini race car to be. Talking about some of the other cars here, a couple of SF90 XXs, a Stradale, and a Spider, and I was considering doing yellow for mine, so it's interesting to see that. There are 4 AMG GT Black Series tucked behind, a couple of other Ferrari models, SF90s and some 296s, there's an SLR, and interestingly, there's a Mercedes Pure Speed back there, which is the new Mythos program, only 250 cars, only available in 2 configurations, the satin silver and also a red and black halo scheme, but interesting to see that. And I noticed the Oro Chiaro 296, which is the same colour as my 12 Cilindri. It would be remiss of me not to mention the fact that I'm standing beside 2 Ferrari Icona Series Monzas. the red SP2 with its engine clam open to reveal the V12 engine, and behind it an SP1, which is the rarer of the configurations. And I believe this car is also equipped with a Novatec exhaust, so sounding absolutely insane. Even with its own security guard, a new Countach, and there are many of these that are in the launch specification, the white paint over red interior. It's the way it was presented, and I think it's an iconic original Countach spec as well. Next to it is something that I don't think I'd ever actually seen before, a Mansory Spectre. So the electric Rolls-Royce, but with full Mansory treatment, so much so that it even has a speaker that plays sound when you rev it. Now, very much at home out here, an AMG G63 6x6. They only made, I think, around 85 of those in total, but perfect to go and do some dune bashing. When it comes to the back half of the showroom, there's a line of 6 Purosangues, all the Cullinans, plenty of Urus, so many other cars. We're going to come up this way though, a few more cars from Mansory, including this, the MCX, which is based on the MC20 Cielo, Maserati's convertible V6 mid-engined car they returned with, loads of carbon fiber, tons of other Lamborghinis, Pista Spider, Ferraris, of course, 296 GTS, come past a Revuelto. Also this, which is the Tempesta of the 296 from Mansory. Particularly bold is this one, which is the F9XX SF90 Spider. But keep coming through, because actually when I was here before on the topic of cars moving really quickly, there was a 918 right here, a white one, which has already perhaps even been sold, who knows. This is the Tempesta Verde from Mansory, based on the Ferrari Roma, with this amazing paintwork. There are so many details to this car to try and take in. But keep coming through with me, because we have not only an F12 TDF, one of 799, but another Porsche 918 Spider in the gloss black. We then have a pair of 812 Competiziones. In fact, this one in the blue, I absolutely love. Blue and yellow over red interior is so out there, but somehow I'm all right with it here in the Dubai sunshine. And lastly, a McLaren Elva, one of 149. And I drove one out here in this color scheme, certainly orange over black. It could even have been this car for all I know, but the open top competitor to the Aston V12 Speedster and the Ferrari Monza. Things move around here fast, but that was another 11 hypercars here at VIP Motors. Can you believe there's even more to go and find? It's another beautiful day here in Dubai. Roads now looking a little bit busier. Earlier this morning I was thinking it was going to be pretty deserted today, but I think our running tally is at 85 hypercars that we've seen so far in the showrooms, and there's even more to go and track down. We're going to continue this search, continue this hunt, and see if we can get to that magic 100. Unfortunately, we're too early to be able to go inside, but I have to show you what's in the showroom here at Princess Cars, because driving past, I spotted the 3 Bugatti Veyrons that they have center stage. That car is becoming more iconic by the day, now 2 decades old. Not only those, but lots of interesting things around, including 2 430 Scuderias, which is another modern classic Ferrari I'd quite like to drive in the not too distant future. But I tell you what, the appreciation for the Veyron is just going up and up and up. And even just seeing them through the window, it's pretty good, I'm gonna say. This is Pupil of Fate, and behind me, another double-digit display of hypercars and so much else. And it feels like a little bit of deja vu since the last time I came to visit. There are some new cars lurking at the back, which we haven't seen before, which we're going to go and check out. So where do we begin? Because in here, we've got a trio of AMG ONEs. A massive lineup. There's so much to explore. I mean, we have another Chiron 110 ans, 110 years of Bugatti. These are so rare, and yet we've come across one right here. The Aston Martin Valkyrie Coupe, one of 150. And something that's interesting about these is when they've been parked and they've been sat for 30 to 45 minutes, they actually drop down into an even lower ride height. They look like they're slammed down to the ground. There's a pair of LaFerraris, and at the time, I wasn't completely enamored with the LaFerraris when they came out, when they were presented. But over time, I've really grown to them. This early road-going hybrid technology, but with a naturally aspirated V12, something that we're all longing for more and more of in the world. We then have the Centenario, named after what would have been the 100th birthday of Ferruccio Lamborghini, the founder of the company. There are only 20 of these. You rarely come across one. Full exposed carbon. I drove one for the first time out of New York City. We've got a satin black Sian FKP 37, the coupe, one of 63, again of this, super menacing and stealthy in that complete satin black look. Ferrari Monza SP1, and it's interesting with the SP1s and the SP2s, this first model of the Icona series, to see that split as a Huracan STO 60th anniversary crawls by outside the showroom. But this in the white with the blue stripe over the top, very retro and an ultimate driving experience. A familiar McLaren Speedtail, very distinct because of its colour. I actually saw this car when it was here 3 years ago when the showroom had just opened, and I came to visit back then. Of course, very recognisable. This is a bit of a unicorn, the Mercedes SLR McLaren Sterling Moss, or the Sterling Boss as I like to nickname it, the car that came before the Aston Ferrari and McLaren modern takes on these cars, but open driving experience, retro styling like the old 300 SLR, and a really cool thing, incredibly rare, only 75 of them. In fact, basically a matching pair with the other cars here, the 722 and the 722S, each one of 150, and there just happens to be a 918 Spider Weissach package tucked in over at the corner. We've then got a McLaren Senna. I think there are even two here the last time that I came by. A couple of AMG GT Black Series. We've got a trio of 4 GTs as well. This first one is a design edition. Then we've got the Heritage and another Heritage. And interestingly, the cars behind are the Xiaomi SU7 Ultras with 1,500 horsepower that can lap the Nürburgring 20 seconds quicker than a Tesla Model S Plaid. And they only cost in China about £55,000. And there are 4 of them there. Those are phenomenally quick. We then have a McLaren Elva with the painted livery, and of the 149 of these, it's so interesting how many are out here, because arguably with the heat and the limited times of year that you can drive a car like this, it's a surprising choice. We move to the AMG ONEs. 3 different liveries, because if you think about the lead time through to production, and how long it took to get these built. Obviously the F1 livery changed during that time. This one actually has the red painted star on the side, which was a tribute to Niki Lauda, of course, and his connections to the brand. And then the one at the front here has the more modern design with the larger stars presented all over it. Bit of a choice. I think there were 5 different AMG Motorsport liveries, and most of the cars are in those. But to see 3 of them together isn't normal. This isn't normal either. Blue carbon Bugatti Chiron Supersport with the bright orange accents, the bright orange interior, even a bright orange grille around the front, and I actually think that looks really good. And that's completely ignoring the fact that there's SVs, SVJs, Revueltos, a wonderful tailor-made 812 Competizione A, and we haven't even yet gone to those cars I mentioned down at the other end. Let's go check those out. Can you believe that I almost didn't mention this? The Aston Martin 177. It's always been one of my favourite cars. The proportions following the golden ratio and looking spectacular. Not to mention there's a 7.3 litre NAV12. The design of that era of Aston Martin, one of only 77 in the world. Lots of them are actually out here in the Middle East region, but I think it looks stunning. Even the GT Black Series, of course, they're both Project One editions with the painted livery. But come back here, because this is a brand we've seen surprisingly little of today. Pagani and the Huayra Roadster, 1 of 100. This car has just arrived here, and I've got to say, pop that roof panel off, leave it at home, and that would be a very nice way to get around. Then behind it, another Aston Martin Valkyrie, this one being a Spider. Many of them are in this traditional Aston Martin colour scheme, a metallic green, the bright lime green accents to go with it. And again, I mean, it's a Valkyrie. It's the pinnacle of engineering, and to have seen all of these here, yeah, I don't really know what else to say. The Pupil of Fate showroom has been an impressive way to come almost to a close with this. That's it then, we've made it. We've seen over 100 hypercars in the showrooms of Dubai. It's like being at a motor show, so many epic things, and I've been enjoying getting around with this, the AMG G63. Back in one of these a few years after I sold my own, having picked it up from here at Pupil of Fate from their rentals department. I tell you what, while I might not have bought a hypercar today, it might be leading me back towards one of these. So we've got to pick a favourite of everything that we've seen. And I think you might have been, that was a GT3 RS by the way, you might have been able, we started with one, we finished with one. You might have been able to predict it. I'm going to pick of all of the cars we've seen, and as much as I love some of the new cars like the AMG ONEs, of which we have been spoilt for choice, it's going to be the Ferrari F50. You probably saw that coming. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to everyone who's been involved. If you like videos like this, check out the one right over there. But that's it for this time, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.